Hi, folks. This is attorney Simon Stapleton. I do estate planning and elder law. And a question I get a lot from folks is, do I really need a will? So, the answer to that is a good lawyer answer, which we often say, well, it depends. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that if you don't have a plan, in other words, if you don't do a will, then the state has a plan for you. So it's stated out, for example, I'm in Virginia, it's stated out in the Code of Virginia what happens if you die and you don't have a will. There's a list of people under the statute that the your assets in your estate will pass to if you don't make those provisions yourself. And a lot of people don't want those statutory provisions. That list is not what they would have chosen. So in that case, it's obviously important to have a will drawn up yourself. Now, if it's a very small estate, if we're talking a small bank account or two, then certainly you could use a POD, a payable on death, or a TOD, a transfer on death for those accounts. But if we're talking any more than that, if we're looking at real estate, at real property, then I certainly recommend that you have a will. It's not a very expensive or time-consuming process. But some of the alternatives that folks do, we really don't recommend. So, for example, using a joint tenancy. So you put a child, let's say, as a joint tenant with you on a will. The problem with that is what happens if that child doesn't pay their taxes, or they get divorced, or they have a creditor issue. Then you could potentially lose your house over one of those issues with the child. Same thing with a deed of gift. If you gift the property to your child and they run into a problem, or worse yet, because the child under a deed of gift now owns the property, what if they ask you to leave? You're kicked out of your own house. That could never happen, you say, but do you really want to take that risk? The other issue with transferring a house to a child during your lifetime is that can have serious tax consequences. If you pass a house to a child with a will, or even without a will after you die, there are tax advantages to doing that. But as I say, those tax advantages are lost if you do that transfer during your lifetime. And then another very important issue is if you have children, especially young children, then you're really going to want to provide for them in the will. So what we want to do is we want to say, if I'm deceased, if I'm married, if my spouse is deceased as well, who do I want to be the guardian? Who do I want to take care of those children if I were to pass away? Again, we certainly want to make that decision ourselves rather than having the state or having a court make that decision for you. And then as you're leaving assets to young children, if they're underage, it's important to have a trust for them so that the money is held, it's protected for them until they're of age, not just legally of age, but until they're mature enough to handle that money. Let's say you have a life insurance policy that pays out to them. That could be a couple of $100,000 or more. Do you really want that lump sum, that money going directly to an 18-year-old if you were to pass away when the children were young? So you really want to name an executor, to name the person that is going to manage all these things for you. So those are all important reasons to have a will. Please, if you found this information helpful, please like us and click on the button below to subscribe, so that then you'll get notifications of our future videos, and look forward to talking to you again. Thanks, folks.